All right, good morning and welcome to today's Gravity Payments webinar, Contactless Solutions for your Clover point of sale system. My name is Bobby Powers and I'm the head of learning and development here at Gravity Payments, and really pleased to have you join this, one of many in our webinar series that we've been offering the last couple months. So our goal today is to make sure that you have everything that you need to get through not only the pandemic with contactless solutions, but also beyond the pandemic. And to help out with that, we have a guest speaker today, Nick Hutton, who is one of Gravity Payments' own professionals. He has been with Gravity for over 12 years, working in a series of different teams here at the company, working directly with many of our small businesses that we serve. And he's worked across our sales group, our technical support group, and recently has been our foremost point of sales consultant and expert for our company that comes in and consults with small businesses on what equipment is best for them. So before I hand it over to Nick for today's webinar, one quick housekeeping item for everybody on the call. You'll notice that at the bottom of the screen, you have a couple different buttons there. There are two ways to submit questions at any point in time during today's webinar. One is you can click the Q&A button and you can type a question, and Nick will be pausing periodically to read through the questions that have come in. Or you can hit the raise hand button, and that will allow you to ask a question live via audio with Nick. He'll be pausing a couple of different points in time throughout today's webinar to take any of those questions that have come in live. And we'll basically just make sure that you have any of your questions answered about how to get your Clover machine set up the exact way that you need to. So Nick, I'll pass it on over to you, and thanks again for doing this today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Like Bobby said, my name is Nick, and I work here at Gravity as their POS consultant. And let me go ahead and get my screen shared here with everybody. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over quite a few different options that Clover has kind of put out there in lieu of the pandemic. And the things that we're going to be covering are contactless payments and what that means. And with contactless payments, it could be anything from NFC, we're going to cover scan to pay, we're going to cover Clover online ordering, as well as Clover's new digital menu system. So what does contactless payments really mean? Well, the term contactless really can mean anything where you limit the interaction between you and your customers when it comes to payments. So Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung, all those are considered contactless payments, but so are online ordering and phone ordering as well. So anything that really lowers the interaction between you and the customer is considered a contactless payment. Now, one of the solutions for contactless payment is NFC, or near field communication, and you're going to find that in Apple Pay, Google Pay, and Samsung Pay. And one of the nice things with the Clover system is all of their devices support NFC payments, from the Clover Mini to the Clover Flex to the new Clover Station Pro, as well as the regular Clover Station 2018 model, as long as you're using the front-facing printer. They'll be able to tap to pay on that. That's the other term that you might have heard when it comes to NFC payments is tap to pay, and you'll see that little symbol that looks almost like a little Wi-Fi symbol. That lets you know and lets customers know that they can tap to pay to finalize that transaction. Before we move on to the next one, I wanted to see if anyone had any questions about NFC or tap to pay, anything like that at all, before I move on to our next topic.
And we will pause here consciously for a few seconds because I know it takes people a little while to think of a question and then also either type that in or to hit the raise hand button. So just a reminder, you can hit raise hand at any time and ask a question live.
Yep, and then we'll also be covering some Q&A at the end too. So if you guys want to wait till then, that's totally fine too.
Okay, perfect. Nick, I think we can probably press on for this one.
Oh, right. So one of the other solutions that Clover kind of built out, is a function called scan to pay. Now, everyone that has the Clover system currently right now has the ability to do scan to pay. And what this allows you to do is when you print that check to bring to the table, and this is going to be more geared towards full service restaurants where you bring a check to the table. What this allows you to do is at the bottom of that check, there's a little QR code that if the customer has an iPhone, they're going to be able to unlock their phone, launch the camera app, have the camera view the QR code, which then takes them to a payment portal. And it allows them to use Apple Pay to pay for their check and tip all in one transaction. So you don't have to handle cards or take anything back to ring up. It's all rung up through Apple Pay. The nice thing about this is that you don't have to touch anything, which is great. It also simplifies the checkout process so they can check out whenever they need to. The only downside to it currently right now is that this only works on Apple Pay. Android support is coming later this year, but right now it's just going to work on Apple solutions, anything that's iOS. Any questions on scan to pay?
No, nothing so far. I think we're probably good.
All right. So when you print it out, this is what it's going to look like when you take it to the table. So it's going to have your same itemized check receipt that you would always have, and then there's just going to be this giant QR code at the bottom, so it's easily read on their iPhones, and then they can pay and tip. On your end of it, it'll show that that ticket was paid. It'll turn green, let you know that it was paid via their phone.
And Nick, we did have one question come in.
Oh, perfect.
This is from Emily on the phone who asks, how can scan to pay help a quick service restaurant?
So with quick serve, it doesn't really help in that regard since that transaction is happening right away, right? So they come in, they place their order, they pay. So scan to pay doesn't really work in that field, but there are a couple different solutions for that coming down the pipe, which I'll get to a little bit later. But for quick serve, what's really going to be helping is the contactless when it comes to like tap to pay. Also the online ordering, I think, is going to be helping a lot in the quick serve area. So you'll see on this slide here, Clover Online Ordering is a new program that they built out back in March. This is free to use. Everyone that is a restaurant has access to Clover Online Ordering now. There's no monthly fee, there's no per transaction fee. It's all built in now. And what this allows you to do is to go into your Clover dashboard and set up Clover Online Ordering. It's a very simple wizard. It automatically pulls the menu that you already have in your Clover devices. It'll ask you what category do you want to have available online, what items within that category do you want to have available for online ordering. All the items are paid prior to them being submitted. Currently right now it's only for pickup. So if you're going to do online orders, it's going to be pay and then pick up. It doesn't support photos at the moment, so it's going to be all text. And they have two ways of doing ordering. You can either put a little link at the end of it. You'll get a little link that you can put on your website so they can order online. Or if your customers go to the App Store, either on Android or Apple, they're going to be able to download the Clover app. And then within the Clover app, they can search for your business and then place orders through their phone. All the orders are going to print directly to the kitchen printer. So if you have, let's say, a burger that always goes to the kitchen printer, that same food item is going to go to that printer. So you don't have to worry about mapping that out. It's already done. And at the top of the ticket, it'll say that it's a Clover Online order, customer's name, and then you'll know that it's ready, that it's a pickup. You'll also have the ability to put in start and end time when it comes to online orders. So let's say your business opens at 8, but you don't want to start taking orders until 9 o'clock. You can totally put that in there. And you can also put in a delay. So let's say first order comes in at 9. The soonest they can come in and pick it up is, let's say, 9:45. So it does give you some control there. Now, let's say you guys get super slammed and you need to turn off Clover Online Ordering for a little bit. Really easy. It's just a toggle button in your back office. You go to Clover Dashboard, go right into the setup area and you just turn it off. It doesn't remove the site, so people can still look at the menu online. They just wouldn't be able to order anything until you reactivate it. Any questions on Clover Online Ordering?
Yeah, Nick, we did have another question that came in just a minute ago.
Oh, sure.
If the customer pays over the phone, can we print the ticket and attach the receipt to the bag of food? They could scan it maybe when they come in for pickup.
Yeah, you could do that. If you're using the Clover Dining application, you could launch that, put in the order that gets sent to the kitchen. You would then print the check, which would have the QR code. You could staple it to it, and when they come in, they could scan to pay. Yeah, you could totally do that. Yep, that would work. Good question.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions right now. So yeah, I think we can press on.
All right. So the last one here that I want to kind of cover is digital menu. While you're setting up your Clover Online Ordering, at the very end of it, there's going to be a QR code that you can print out. What this QR code allows you to do is you can put this down on the tables, and if the customer, and this again also works on any platform, can work on Android, can work on iOS devices, but what this allows them to do is they can scan that QR code that's on the table, which will then launch their web browser, which will show them a digital copy of the menu. Granted, it is going to mimic whatever you guys have on there for online ordering, but it allows them to take a look at the menu. So, the server can come by, they can look at the menu on their phones, be able to let the server know what they want, and they can go back and put it in. What this helps is it cuts down on some of the waste. I know in some states, if you're reopening, you're having people come in, a lot of the menus have to be disposable. That way people aren't touching the same thing. This would cut down on that paper waste where they can just scan the QR code, view the menu, let the server know what they'd like, and then they can put in the order. Coming down the line though, they're gonna add one more step to this digital menu service. And what that's gonna allow them to do is have the customer not only view the menu from within the business, but they can also place their order from their phones. That is coming. I don't have an ETA as to when Clover is going to release that yet. I know they had a beta going on for a little while on that. They ran into a couple issues, so they kind of put that on hold until they get that all fixed. But soon you'll be able to scan the QR code, view the menu, place the order. It'll get sent to the printer, and then everything will come right back out to the customer. But till then, digital menu is what they have to help kind of cut down on that waste when it comes to disposable menus. Any questions on the digital menu side?
Hey, Nick, just a question for my own knowledge. So I was just
Sure.
at Ivor's Seafood Restaurant here in Seattle last week, and they had the little QR codes to scan for the customers to be able to see the menu. And I'm curious, like, how prominent are you seeing this right now during COVID? How many different businesses have moved to this type of menu system?
From my experience, when I talk to people about the digital menu and the QR solutions, people seem to be really excited about it, especially when it comes to cutting down the waste and not having to run out and make copies of their menu. I haven't come across anything personally out in my adventures, but I have been kind of not going out as much. But when I do talk to people about it, they seem really excited. So I think you're going to see more and more businesses kind of adopt these contactless solutions where either it be, order ahead of time to pick up, or QR code digital menus, or even like tap to pay. You might see more and more businesses move to a setup where they have a device that they interact with, and then there's a device that faces the customer that handles all the payments. So it kind of cuts down on that interaction there. That I've seen more and more businesses have a front-facing customer device. Clover does support that, either by linking the Clover Mini to a Clover Station, or if you happen to have one of the newer Clover Station Pros, you get that device with it. It's part of that bundle. But good question, Bobby.
Yeah, and then we had a follow-up question that came in. Does this give the customer a wait time for their order, and can we adjust those wait times?
For the, if this is in regards to the digital menu, it doesn't show wait times. It's just going to show the menu. If it's Clover online ordering, you can put in a wait, but it's going to be a static wait, right? So if you, let's say your typical time to make something is like 45 minutes, it would be a 45-minute wait for every order that someone puts in. Excuse me. But yeah, so you could put in static waits, but it is going to be just the same each time. It doesn't change fluidly.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. And then this is what the code would look like for the digital menu. So kind of similar to that QR code that you saw at the bottom of the check, but this is just going to be static where they can just scan it and then it would show the menu. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to kind of pivot and kind of show you guys how to enable all these features. So I'm going to bring up my web browser here. I've got my Clover dashboard all ready to go. So once you log into your back office, let's see here. Okay, so it wants me to check
This is
all
the real
tractors.
test of the day is, can you
Yeah.
identify the tractors?
Can I find tractors? All right, so once you're in, now my back office might look a little different than yours. Mine's a developer kit, so it doesn't really reflect anything real. But the settings that you want to enable are going to be down here in the lower left under Account and Setup. Once you click on Account and Setup, you're going to have this option here for online ordering. You can go ahead and click on online ordering. Now there's two options available. The one that we covered today is the Clover branded Clover online ordering. That is completely free. It does not cost anything to use it at all. There's no transaction fee, no monthly fee, none of that. The one underneath it, the ordering app, that does have a transaction fee towards the end of it. This was a third-party application that was developed by Google that partnered with Clover. But for what we're talking about, we're going to be looking at the Clover online ordering system here. And to get it set up, it's super easy. You just click on Get Started. It'll walk you through on how to sign up and accept orders. Mine doesn't work because it's not a real business. But it'll pull your menu, ask you a couple questions on what categories you want to have available, what items within the category, and then what are your business hours and how long does it take for something to be created. And then you're good to go. You'll get a little link that you can impose on your website for online ordering, or you can direct people to use the Clover application to search by your business name. And then this is also where you're going to get that scan code for your digital menu as well that you can print out, all through the back office here. And then of course, if you would like to learn more, or if maybe you don't have Clover, you want to see if it might be a good fit for you, feel free to contact me directly. My email's at the bottom here, demos@gravitypayments.com. And at this time, I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions that you guys might have.
Great. Thanks, Nick. And as we're waiting for people to submit questions, just a reminder, you can hit the raise hand button if you want to ask a live question verbally on the call, or you can type into the Q&A. So we had a question that came in from Jamie who asks, does Clover work with dinerware POS printers?
So Clover will work with the Star branded printers. So as long as your printer is a Star and it's connected to your network via Ethernet, Clover will talk to it. The common ones that it works with are the Star 742s for the kitchen printer, which is going to be friction. For receipt printers, which would be like drink tickets, things like that, it works with the Star TSP 143 or 600 series.
Okay, perfect. And another question that came in is, do you have any idea how many orders on average restaurants are receiving via Clover online ordering?
From what I've seen, from the few people I've talked to that have enabled it, it's kind of like a slow burn. It starts off kind of slow once the word gets out. I've only had one person that had to like turn it off because they got too many. But it does pick up from what I've been seeing, from what people have been telling me.
And Nick, another question. What kinds of difficulties have you seen from people that have turned on these Clover features? I know some of these are new, some of them have been around for a while, but what advice would you give to people?
My advice is if you're going to start using any of the newer features like Clover Online Ordering or digital menu, scan to pay, I would just kind of walk through your customers on how the process works, because there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, especially if they're used to like using something like Uber Eats or Grubhub, things like that. Doing it through your website directly, like I said, right now it doesn't support pictures. That's something that they're looking into. So you might have to be a little more descriptive in what the item is. Scan to pay though seems to be really easy. People just use their iPhones, look at the QR code. It's all done through Apple Pay. So as long as they have Apple Pay set up, it's just a one button press and then they're done. But yeah, I haven't run into any other issues since that. I mean, besides the digital menu to order side where they did run into some issues, but they kind of rolled that back and just left it as digital menu. I haven't come across anything really major at all.
And I know there's been so much focus placed on getting through this pandemic that has just decimated small businesses across the country. But a lot of these solutions seem to be applicable for well beyond that. You know, and contactless has been around for a while. What do you foresee for the next few years as far as like the evolution of contactless? Do you think this is the wave of the future? Are we going to see more of this?
I think we're definitely going to see more, especially as people start to kind of come out of their shell and start going back into businesses. I think they're going to be a little bit more mindful on what things they're actually touching and interacting with, where I think if they have more options available to them using devices that they currently already have, you don't have to worry about exchanging cards or cash back and forth. I think we're going to see a lot more solutions when it comes to like using QR codes, either for ordering or payment, or even just like looking at menus and things like that. I think we're going to see a lot more like online orders for pickup, things like that. I mean, just from my experience, just with the few bars that are around me here in like the West Seattle White Center area, a lot of them have kind of pivoted into the online ordering side where, you place your order online, you come in and pick it up. Interactions, pretty limited because you've already paid and tipped, you're ready to go. So I think we'll see more and more of that as people start to kind of move out of the house and back into restaurants and back into bars.
And then last question, what advice do you have for restaurant owners that are trying to educate their teams about these new Clover features?
I will add a couple links to this at the end with Bobby that'll be on the recording. But Clover Help site, if you go to Google and type in Clover Help, they have amazing help articles where it's not only just text, but there's also videos that walk you through this setup process. Even though it is really easy with the wizard that's built in, there's videos on both the scan to pay, Clover online ordering, and then how to take a Clover online order. So I would definitely recommend using their help site. It's great for training, and then it also tailors the answers to what device you're using. So if you're setting this all up on a mini, it tailors how that works. If you're setting up on a Station or a Station Pro, it shows you how those steps differ a little bit.
And then we did have one final question that snuck in there under the wire is to get the Clover app, customers should download the one that says Clover Earn Perks Nearby. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's the same application that they would download for the Clover Rewards program. They'll be able to search your business through there. And as long as you have Clover Online set up for ordering, there'll be a little order button in your account page.
Okay. Perfect. Well, yeah, just a reminder for everyone, we will be sending out this information and the video recording and all that via email to anyone who registered for this event. And then we oftentimes do a blog post write-up on these as well, just with a couple key takeaways. But Nick, I'm curious from your perspective, what would be 2 or 3 things that you'd want to stick out in the minds of any attendees today before we end?
Yeah, I would, like, if you're going to take a couple things away from this, the first thing I had hoped kind of you guys get is all these features are available now. They do not cost anything extra to use any of these things. It's already baked into your Clover software as a service fee. So if you want to experiment with it or try it out, I'd highly recommend doing it. It's not going to cost anything. You can always turn it off if you don't like it. So all of these features are built in. It doesn't hurt to try it, you know? And then the other thing would be, if you do implement these things, it kind of gets you ahead of the curve. You know, you're going to be one of the more forward-thinking, you know, tech places that can take just about every kind of payment you can think of.
Okay, perfect. Well, Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to do this and walk us through all of this. And then for those of you that are on the phone with us today, just a reminder, you can find information about any of our Gravity Payments webinars at our website. So it's www.gravitypayments.com/talks, and it has the list of all of our past and future talks. So Nick, thanks again, and I hope all
Yeah,
of
of
our
course.
attendees have a great rest of their day.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye.